Thank you for coming so early on a Sunday morning, and I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting me to participate in such a wonderful event. There's such great speakers. A little brief family history first. Hayden on the top. Hayden is 17. He was born at 24 weeks gestation, just weighing 1 pound 13 ounces. A little bit later on in his life, he had the misfortune to inherit my neurological disability. And at 23 months, he was diagnosed with severe autism. Printer is his service dog that goes to school with him. He was the first student in Limestone District School Board to go to school with a service dog. Olivia is Hayden's precocious 15-year-old sister. They're watching live stream in bed right now. And Kevin and Danny are my 25-year-old stepsons. Danny is about to be married next month, and Kevin also has autism. David is my partner. He's a paramedic here in the Kingston area. And I'm a part-time PhD student in the School of Rehabilitation Therapy with an interest, obviously, in disability. And I also work full-time here at the university in the Human Rights and Equity Office as an equity advisor. That's a picture that hung on my mother's wall for as long as I can remember. It's a beautiful picture of a beautiful cottage surrounded by beautiful flowers. And I remember I would just stand there gazing at the picture, wondering what the story was. And one day my mother said, "Is that you standing in the doorway?" And I looked at my mom and I said, "No, that's not me. I feel kind of sorry for that little girl because it seems to me that she just can't take that step outside of that door and discover what lies around the bend, because that's where my imagination took me. What lies around the bend? Never in a million years, when I was maybe 5 or 6, did I imagine the journey that I'm on today. When I was thinking about this theme, pioneers, a few great ones, of course, came to mind. You can agree or disagree with me. Einstein, Buddha, Jack Layton. But Hayden, in my mind, is truly a pioneer too. He's had so many obstacles to overcome, and he's still overcoming them in his life. He has no speech, he's nonverbal. Communication, to be understood, is a constant challenge for him and for those around him. It's full of frustration and anxiety for everyone. But he's one of the most intelligent people I know, even though his obstacles are many. For him, every day is like braving the new frontier. Yet day after day, he hurls himself into this great unknown with humor and grace and the desire to be understood and loved by those around him. He, like I said, is truly a pioneer, and he's my inspiration to push beyond the boundaries and challenge the current reality as presented. So often I have heard in my role as advocate for my sons and in my role as advocate for families that ask me to help them, words like, "Heidi, that's just never been done before." Or, "Heidi, you will never win." "Heidi, give up, you're killing yourself." Or, "Heidi, just worry about your own family. Charity begins at home. Don't worry about the other families living with autism. They're not your responsibility." But it is Hayden's pioneering spirit that gives me the strength to believe that I can make a difference, the courage to trust in myself and take a stand and to take action. This is going to be a little video that was on Autism Ontario's website about 4 years ago. Hired a sign language teacher. All finished. What are you doing? What do you want? What do you want? You tell mommy what you want. Counting. Please say mommy. Please. Please. But say mommy. Say mommy. Mommy. Want me to look? Look at what? Look at what? The wall. It's green. It's green. Counting. 1, 2 walls. 1, 2 is his favorite number. 1, 2. We could do this for hours. 1, 2. 1, 2. It's his obsession. Starting to think that some of this is to give him, when he's a little anxious, it just gives him, it's the same. 1 is always 1, 2 is always 2, 1. it allows him to kind of control the situation too. And so now it's him saying, wait, you know, this is the way I understand the world. Let's just count. Let's just count. So a lot of times people think just because Hayden is nonverbal it means that he might be, that he doesn't communicate. And so for us, and what we try to teach Olivia and everyone else is, okay, what do you want, Hayden? Show us in some way. And so the signing 2 years ago was him. We almost kind of happened on it by accident, because everyone said, oh, he'll never sign. And I forget what the first sign was, but I went, oh my goodness, you know, so
yes.
counting.
It was yes when you had a margarita and he asked for it.
Oh, yeah. He wanted some of my margarita.
Hayden,
Do you want a
why
book?
don't you get one of your books?
Hayden,
On his favorite one.
book?
As I walked to the kitchen with Hayden and his family, Heidi pulled out a big book full of labels and pictures. Heidi explains why that book is necessary for Hayden.
He knows where it
Yeah,
goes.
that doesn't belong with food. Anybody? This is all another way for him to communicate, is with his pictures. Is there something there you want?
You want to use that?
Are you hungry? Hayden, do you want to eat? What do you want, sweets? Arrowroot cookie? Okay. Tell me. Tell me. I want more arrowroot cookie. Can you say please? Please? Please, mommy? Mommy? Mommy. Okay. Yes. We'll get you an arrowroot cookie, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. What we're trying to ask people that are with Hayden and Kevin
1, 2,
is please take the time to
3.
kind of
1, 2, 3.
try to find
4,
out what it
5,
is that they want
6,
or what it is
7,
that they don't understand and help
Look at-
them through
look at
that
toolbox.
because they're bright
Whoa.
kids. You look
1,
at
2,
Hayden and
3,
I mean
4,
the
5,
things that he's been able
6,
to
7,
communicate
8,
to us
9,
requires
10,
a lot of
10 tools. 10.
forethought and intellect, you know?
9.
Look. Mommy loves Hayden. Hayden loves Mommy. Look. Where's I love you? I love you. Whoop. Wow. That was 4 years ago. He doesn't use that book anymore. And he's got over 300 signs. And he uses his iPad to communicate as well. So I think, is it Taylor Swift that says never say never? Hayden has given me the wisdom to appreciate that there's many people out there that see change as an obstacle, not an opportunity. My Uncle Rick once gave me a really good piece of advice, and this is what he said. No one ever stepped out without a vision of what must be changed or explored. No one ever took on the vision without the courage to attempt what others could or would not. And no one ever exercised the courage to pioneer without personal sacrifice. So I'd like to unpack those words, vision, courage, and sacrifice. But before I do, I want to read to you now a parable that I hope will help you understand a little bit about our family and the other families in Ontario that are living with autism. In the beginning, many people lived in big institutions and there was very little hope. However, some people had a dream, and for the first time, community placements were created, and lo, we were happy for being able to offer people hope. And we said, this is very good. And placements multiplied and began to fill our communities. We then said, let us call people clients and make more programs which focus on serving their needs. And clients were carefully defined and labeled and grouped according to their labels and assigned to programs based on their labels. And we created more services for each of the labels, and state agencies developed unit costs for each service. And programs prospered and multiplied, and we said, this is very good. And as programs multiplied, a cry arose. Let us evaluate our programs to see how good they are. And program evaluation systems, state regulations, quality assurance committees, compliance plans, eligibility requirements, entitlements, and other accountability measures were created, and they multiplied and filled volumes. And in those times, a prophet arose and said to us, I don't want to be a client anymore. I am a person. I don't want a label. I have a name. I don't want a treatment plan. I want a plan. I want a life. I don't want services. I want support and help. I don't want a residential placement. I want a home. I don't want a day program. I want a job that is meaningful and productive. I don't want to be programmed, case managed, or controlled anymore. I want to learn to do the things that I like. I want to go to the places I want, when I want. I want to have fun and to enjoy life. I want to have friends, love and be loved. I want a family. I want to contribute to others. I want to live where I want and with whom I want. I want the same opportunities as all of you. I want to be happy. I want to make the decisions that are about my life. I want freedom. And there was a long silence. And lo, we realized that we must look beyond our programs, our regulations, and our labels. But we were deeply troubled and asked, what have we done? How can we do what the prophet asks? Would not each person need their own unique supports based on his own desires, preferences, and an individual measure of quality? And the prophet replied, even as you say, so should it be done, just as you have done for yourselves in your own lives. And that's a picture of Kevin and Hayden at the last Kingston Labor Day parade. So they do participate in their community. The client in this parable wants what every person with autism and their families want in this province: dignity, quality of opportunity, independence, safety, security, and well-being. That's what we all want for ourselves and our children. Yet, this isn't the current reality for our families living with autism in Ontario. This province is a province where the programs haven't multiplied, they've actually shrunk. This province isn't interested in program evaluation, and if you don't believe me, all you need to do is read the Drummond Report. Service providers are also feeling threatened by the current reality, placing an artificial tension between services and families, or us and them. This is a quote from the Corner Office article in a newsletter that goes out from an unnamed service provider in this area. And this is a newsletter that goes out to all families. When I read this quote, I was so angry. With the purchasing power in the hands of the client, who can easily take his or her business elsewhere, survival of the organization will depend on being able to market effectively to the right target audience. Does that look like a client to you? Our family will not accept the current reality as currently presented to us by the system. There has to be another way, as a family, as a community, as a society, as humanity. We need to move away from words like consumer choice, self-determination, self-advocacy, clients' rights, person-centered planning, towards words like cooperation, group determination and advocacy, human rights, family-focused, asset-based community development, and a word here that I didn't put up, but move away from independence to truly interdependence. My vision, simply, is once we're able to see beyond programs and realize that it's people because all of us have a gift to give that are the answer. Then, and only then, will individuals and families with autism be able to claim our power, not be empowered. There's a fundamental difference in that. Claim our power to affect change and create community that includes quality of life for all. And this will be the focus of my research, deliberately moving away from the perception that we are nothing but needy recipients of care, and moving towards an asset-based, community-driven, local approach that fosters engagement, individual and family well-being, and full citizenship. But vision demands change. Vision always stands in contrast to the world that it is. My vision is about a shared energy, because together we are stronger. There's a Japanese proverb that states, vision without action is a daydream, and action without vision is a nightmare. Vision requires courage. I would encourage all of you not to be afraid of failure. Failure is a lesson learned, and we can learn from it and try again and come at it from another way, a way that speaks the language of those that resist. Present change as an opportunity, not an obstacle. Never, ever, ever give up. Although it might seem that everything is against you, that there's no hope for change, believe in yourself. Believe that maybe, just maybe, that having a simple conversation with that resistor, you could maybe change the tide. Vision requires sacrifice. Sacrifice is to be the first. You take a stand, you take a position. It's at the sacrifice of all other positions, and there's no going back. And you truly leave yourself vulnerable and exposed, and it does take a lot of courage. But it means that you won't accept the status quo, and that you're willing to change the reality as currently presented. Hopefully, I'm leaving you with more hope than fear or anxiety, but there's been times in my son's 17 years where I wondered if I could pick myself up again and fight that fight. And I would seek the advice of my mother. My family immigrated to this country with no English, 2 children, and $200. And they're truly pioneers in my mind. And when I felt out of my league, intimidated, exhausted, my mother would say, well, I can't really do the Dutch accent, but well, if you do nothing, you already have no. So you might as well ask for yes. And I can't tell you how many times when I was sitting with my MP or in my MPP or writing grants for summer camps that didn't exist, those words would resonate. And I'd like to end my time with you by dedicating my talk in loving memory to my mom. Thank you.